Durban is a port city that is situated on the east coast of South Africa in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and is the largest city in the province and third most populous city in South Africa. It has seized opportunities to advance and embed the climate change agenda through the electricity crisis of 2008 that resulted in blackouts and the landmark successful hosting of the 17th United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP17, in 2011. This provided the city with a platform to promote adaptation at an international level, and the city co-organized a pioneering local government convention. This led to the Durban Adaptation Charter, the DAC, which commits local governments to climate action that will assist communities to respond to and cope with climate change risks. It has been signed by over 1,100 local government organizations globally. Climate change experts have worked tirelessly to embed climate into plans and policies and take advantage of opportunities that arose to advance the climate agenda in the city. This incremental approach to climate change resulted in eThekwini municipality recognizing the need for a strategic response to climate change policy and governance in the form of a city-wide Durban climate change strategy in 2015. This has driven forward institutionalization of the climate change agenda and subsequent work to establish a governance framework with high-level political commitment to successfully implement not only a number of city-wide climate change strategies and initiatives, but establish the institutional structures and technical teams to ensure that these are driven forward. Why a 1.5 degrees Celsius climate action plan? Climate change is no longer a future phenomenon. It is already upon us and affects us all. There is growing recognition that it is not only an environmental issue but also an economic and social issue. The 2015 Paris Agreement clearly outlines the international commitment to limit the global average temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius. The IPCC Special Report, Global Warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, further indicates that we are already 1 degree Celsius warmer than pre-industrial levels, and while we will face major impacts with 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, 2 degrees Celsius warming is significantly worse. With the support from C40, eThekwini municipality has developed this climate action plan that builds on the 2015 Durban climate change strategy to address the need for rapid transformation. A 1.5 degrees Celsius climate action plan is a city-wide plan that provides a pathway to transition Durban towards climate resilience and carbon neutrality by 2050. The goal of the plan is to ramp up the ambition and action that is required to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. This is vital to avoid catastrophic impacts, especially facing our more vulnerable communities. The science is now clear that we need to limit temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius to avoid severe climate impacts such as extremely high temperatures, more frequent floods, electricity blackouts, droughts, and food shortages. While the task at hand is titanic, there is hope. Limiting temperature increase is still possible, but will require a major global shift in raising ambition in line with 1.5 degrees Celsius. Bold, urgent climate change action can have immediate, tangible impacts on people's lives, from generating green jobs to creating happier lives and cleaner air and water. Everyone, including state and non-state actors such as cities and the private sector, needs to ramp up action now. The Durban 1.5 degrees Celsius Climate Action Plan comprises of 29 actions and 149 sub-actions aligned to 9 thematic areas that provide a pathway for Durban to achieve climate resilience and carbon neutrality. 3 key focus areas for emissions reductions are emissions from electricity consumption, including energy efficiency, transport, and industrial and other stationary energy. Durban's biggest climate risks are rising temperatures up to 1.6 degrees Celsius by 2050, more frequent droughts, 1 in 10-year dry periods expected to increase to 3 in 10 years, increased flooding, 1 in 10-year floods are expected to increase to 3 in 10 years. Sea level rise, up to 1 meter above current levels. The list of criteria used for prioritization of actions to guide the selection of city climate actions were whether they significantly reduce greenhouse gases, significantly improved resilience, and a higher return on investment socially and economically. With regards to energy, the city will develop a funding model for eThekwini municipality that takes into account reduced income from electricity sales as a result of the shift to self-generation by customers. It will also develop an independent power producer support program to facilitate the diversification of the supply of energy pending legislation. Under transport, the city will continue to implement and expand the integrated rapid public transport network with a strong focus on transit-oriented development in line with the Built Environment Performance Plan targets. In addressing the issue of water and flooding, the city will support and develop ecological infrastructure that supports protection from climate change impacts. In addressing food security, we will also support local agriculture to protect citizens from rising food prices. In addressing waste and pollution, the city will expand existing infrastructure to enable scaling up of recycling in the city, including the establishment of waste parks, buyback centers, and drop-off centers. In the area of biodiversity, the city is to identify priority biodiversity areas for conservation that has climate change benefits. Regarding health, the city will develop and implement a heat mitigation strategy. And in addressing vulnerable communities, the city will facilitate the transition of informal settlements towards climate change resilience. Sisonke, together we can. eThekwini municipality contributes only 6% of Durban's community-wide GHG emissions. A pathway towards becoming a carbon neutral and resilient city by 2050 requires the city to engage and partner with a range of stakeholders through a number of initiatives with a focus on sustainability. Hence, the city is driving the following initiatives and partnerships. Private sector collaboration. The city's 2016 GHG inventory and the GHG emission scenarios show that industrial and commercial emissions account for 52% of citywide emissions. At the same time, many companies that have head offices and/or operations in the city have set ambitious GHG reduction targets and have implemented a range of innovative solutions to mitigate GHG emissions. Therefore, to achieve carbon neutrality, engagement and partnerships with the private sector is critical. Active citizen participation. The municipality has partnered with the Department of Science and Technology and National Research Foundation Center in Indigenous Knowledge Systems to use an IKS approach to engage Durban citizens on climate change. Establish a green training center. Transforming the city to align with a 1.5 degrees Celsius pathway will require new skills. We cannot mitigate or adapt to what we do not understand. Identifying and building the necessary skills is essential. One way to promote this at the local level is through lifelong learning programs that impart new knowledge, skills, and attitudes to learners. The city, over the medium to long term, will establish a green training center to provide low and unskilled citizens with skills needed in a low-carbon society. Now is the time to act. Our actions today determine our future. Thank you.